Hi guys, welcome to Windsome Cottage Garden. My name is Hannah and I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. We're back in the cottage garden. It has been a while since we've been here. We've been doing a lot of work in the home garden, getting plants out of the plant hoard and in the ground before winter. And now it's time to do that here at the cottage garden as well. You saw a video earlier this week where we planted some bulbs. Now it is time to do a project that I actually bought the plants for this spring and am just getting around to it. I hope the audio is okay. It is a breezy day, though it is a glorious day. I think it's about 64, 65. And let me just show you what the fall color is doing right now. The beautiful cottage, and it's not at peak. I'd say next week, maybe the week after, but you can see even just kind of looking around the lake. Oh, and it's so bright, it's kind of hard to see the distant shore. See it a little bit. You can see it a little bit more. But we have beautiful color. Just kind of getting started. It's beautiful. It hasn't been this warm for a couple days. We had our first frost in the home garden a couple days ago. Now what's interesting is I noticed it as I was driving to work on it in my neighbor's yard, but I didn't have any in my yard. Now my yard kind of dips and is protected. It was a very misty morning, so maybe I was just below where that dew point was and it wasn't really settling to frost. So most of my plants are still looking okay, but it's coming. And they have not had one here, and I don't think they're going to get one this week yet. Anyway, let me show you where we are working. I apologize for the wind. And what we're going to be adding to this space. I have a beautiful four-wheeler cart of blooms that you can kind of see. You can see some of them are already, flowering a bit. These are all deer-resistant varieties that attract pollinators that are going to be going on either side of our vegetable garden. This is getting a bit of I don't know if it's really a facelift. My dad is going to be putting a more permanent fence in this fall and winter. And I was waiting for him to do that before I planted these, but now we just need to move forward and get these in the ground. So there's going to be a short bed on either side of the entrance that these are going to be tucked in. I don't have a ton of plants for this area. I have, I think 4 for each side of the path. It'll evolve as time goes on. But I do want to get the stuff I already have in the ground so they can settle in before winter, because they will winter over better in the ground than they will in their container. And I think we're probably still a couple weeks away from a hard frost here. They'll get a frost sooner than that, but nothing below 28. Probably through the end of October. I should also mention, I am not sure when you are going to be seeing this. If I haven't done so already, I am a little bit behind in posting. There's just been so much going on in the home garden, and I've been working so hard to get everything in the ground, which desperately needs to be done before winter, that I have decided to continue filming it and sharing it with you guys, but it will just be kind of posted as I'm able to edit it. Probably that 1 to 2 videos per week. The good news is, it means you're going to have content throughout the season, even past the time of planting. Today is October 19th that I'm filming this. I am not sure when you're going to see it. It's probably closer to the end of the month, maybe even the beginning of November, depending on what videos get done first. But I just want to mention that it will give these plants time to settle in before winter is upon us and we get that hard frost I mentioned. Okay, I am going to figure out how wide these beds are going to be, and I'm going to start kind of digging the sod out. I'm not sure how much of it will happen. Well, I'm going to get you guys set up and let you watch the whole process. Let's get going. Okay, the wind is still blowing, so I'm sure the audio is not great, but we did get everything planted, and I think it's gonna look so good. You might not be able to tell because the sun is like straight in my face right now, but it is setting. I only have probably about 40 minutes of sunlight left, and I wanted to quickly show you these plants and give you some details. We did shift gears about how we were going to plant them about halfway through, so we probably won't be back in this bed yet this season just to tidy it up. But for now, let's give you the plant details and a closer look at what went into this space. Yeah, like I said, the sun's right there. Give it about 10 minutes and it's going to be below this trees. We have 5 plants on either side. Now, I'm going to try and back up. Getting this whole space in a shot is difficult. I don't think you can really see it, but there's 5 plants on either side and they're fairly symmetrical. Not exact because this side of the bed is a little bit bigger than that side of the bed. Oh, and I should acknowledge the elephant in the room. This is where our dock gets stored over the winter and kayaks and stuff. It's already out. And yeah, this is where they went overwinter. So even though they're out and ready to go, we still have tomatoes on the branches and need to get some squash, which I think will be happening quite soon. Anyway, we added on each side 3 different varieties of plants that I am super excited. All of these are highly deer resistant, so hopefully they don't eat them, and they're things that even if they do, it shouldn't affect their beauty too much. So we'll see how it goes. We added 5 plants, as I mentioned, and 4 varieties. So we have 2 different types of buddleia. We have 2 lavender plants as well as a speedwell. There was actually supposed to be 3 lavender plants, but as luck would have it, 2 out of the 6 lavender plants did not survive the plant war. So I adjusted, and I'm sure I will shift a little bit as time goes on. And what I'd really like to do is actually pick up 3 more lavender plants, so I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5th right here. Anyway, kind of going over here, I'm going to pop onto this side to show you this hint of color. This is just fading, as you can tell, but you can see the pretty color in it. This is a Miss Molly buddleia butterfly bush by Proven Winners. Now, we picked this because one of my sister's names is Molly, and her nickname growing up was Miss Molly. So we saw it in the store, and we saw this last year. We saw both of these varieties last year, and I said to my mom, gosh, wouldn't it be really pretty to do this in front of the vegetable garden? And she was like, and isn't it so perfect that it's Molly? And she was like, yep, but we wanted to do some work in the vegetable garden, so we didn't buy the plants last year. We saw them again this year and decided it was time, and then proceeded to not be ready to plant them. In fact, we're still not really ready to plant them. You saw us take off this fence so we could dig out along the edge. More permanent posts are going to be coming in this fall or spring sometime soon. And so we thought it'd be easier before we got the plants in to dig out where they're going to go. It's basically going in the same spot, though this side is moving about a foot, maybe more over, because the pathway here is quite thin. Anyway, this Miss Molly bush, again, it is so vibrant. It's like a deep magenta-y, purpley pink. It's just beautiful, and it is somewhat sizable. It's going to get 4 to 5 feet tall and wide, and it's hardy in zones 5 through 9. Now, this is one that, as I mentioned, is super deer tolerant. In fact, I don't think I've actually ever seen deer nibble on these. Now this might be the chance they get, because I've mentioned before, we are between a national forest and a water source, which means we have a ton of deer activity. In fact, you can kind of see this tree behind me. They haven't touched it all year, and they came in and nibbled on it. However, it's one we were limbing up soon, so we're not too bummed about it, though we are going to give it some winter protection. Anyway, all this to say, these are highly deer resistant varieties. Doesn't mean they won't eat it, just means they'll eat it last. But I've never seen deer eat buddleia bushes, so we have high hopes that this will be a nice anchor on either side of the vegetable garden. If I back up again, and it's getting increasingly hard to see over here, but picture like a 4-foot, 5-foot bush with these blooms on it, just anchoring the vegetable garden. We did them so they'll kind of fill about this corner. and they can get big. We're gonna bring the beds out and kind of curve in a little bit. We're planning to stone it as well. And I think that will be one of the tallest things in this area that's gonna go there. Eventually, we're probably gonna put an arch up with maybe a rose. And so we wanted to keep things like it's not low, but low-ish. And this might get 4 to 5 feet tall, might not. And even if it did, it is on the north side of the bed, so it's not going to be shading anything badly in the bed. Oh, the wind is picking up. Then I mentioned we have 2 lavender plants in the bed. These are from Lowe's. They were a clearance special, and they are blue scent lavender. And they will get 12 to 14 high, 10 to 12 wide, non-hardy in zone 1 through 4. So 5 and up. These are for you. I thought these would just be 2 little pretty pops right here. I have left a spot for something beautiful in here with a different leaf color because we've got a lot of bluey leaf colors. I'd like a darker leaf, something or other that maybe gets like 3 feet tall is what I'm thinking. And I didn't find it, so I left a spot for it, but I will find it eventually. And that brings me right next to another butterfly bush. There was one. Let's go look over here. What is this one? This had a bloom that was fresh. And oh my gosh, you guys, this, I don't know if even the vibrance is coming through clearly, but this is like the bluest. It's kind of showing up as purple, but it is like true blue, y'all. And it is just so beautiful. This stopped me in my tracks. I actually planted 3 of these in my house in the sunbed we worked on. And I bought those after we bought these because they had them when we picked up these. I was being good because I had so many plants in my horn and I knew I didn't need more. But then I thought about it and I thought about it and I thought about it and I went back and bought them like a week and a half later. And then I had to track down a third because they only had 2 left and I needed 3. I don't regret buying them because I think they're going to be beautiful. These are a Huckster Blue dwarf butterfly bush, and these have such big blooms. The color is one of the things that I loved about them, the size of the blooms, and they smell so good. I didn't realize butterfly bushes had a scent, but I absolutely love how these smell. And one thing that's nice about them, because they are a dwarf, is they only get 2 feet tall and wide, maybe 2.5. They're also zones 5 through 9 and like full sun. And they are going to get full sun here because it's pretty exposed. This one might get like more like 8 hours, but the rest are going to get much more than that. So we're going to have the like 4 to 5 foot tall, some lower lavender, space for something 3 foot. And then this 2 to 3 feet. I keep saying 2 to 3 feet because I feel like this is already 2 foot wide and about that tall. So maybe this is its full size, but I love it. And I've left room for the space here as well. And then that brings me to the plant popped right next to the doorway. Now, the entryway, as I mentioned, is going to have a gate. So picture it with a beautiful gate, an arch, and probably a climbing rose that will be planted inside the deer fence. Now they might be able to nibble it from throughout, but it'll have that tall arch in addition to the arch inside the bed. So what we planted here was definitely going to be understory. We bought some Veronica on clearance at Home Depot. It says they only get 4 to 12 tall. I think that's the leaf canopy because it also says 15 to 24. And if they're getting that wide, I'm thinking they're going to get taller. I could be wrong. Maybe this is a shorter variety. But I do know this picture shows white, purple, and pink. These are both pink varieties. Oh, and I should mention they're hardy down to -40, which I believe is a zone 3. And they bloom mid to late summer and often rebloom. So all of these things are pollinator attractors too. I don't think I mentioned that this is a mini pollinator garden that's deer resistant to bring pollinators down to the vegetable garden and give us many a plant. Gosh. So the wind is picking up, the sun is sinking just in time for me to go inside and enjoy the rest of my evening. We were going to plant some daffodils down here, but since we changed, originally we were going to dig out the entire bed, and then we decided, no, we're going to cardboard mulch it sometime in the future. Maybe this season, maybe next spring. Since we did that, I may come down here and plant some bulbs in a different video, or I might just say, c'est la vie, and we'll get it next year. We plant bulbs most years, so it won't be too much to come back in the future and add some in here because I think it would be such a pretty pop to see right down here from the house, because we see a lot of this from the house up there. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm not sure if the next video you see will be still in the cottage garden. There's a couple more tasks to do, but I'm not sure if I'm going to film those. We'll have to see. But there are definitely more tasks going on in the home garden. We have a couple more videos there that, again, I mentioned you're going to be seeing probably well after they were actually filmed. But I want to keep sharing this garden journey with you. So, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe so you don't miss a thing, either here in the cottage garden or our home garden that we document as well on this channel. Don't forget to share this with your friends or family or other gardeners in your life who you think might enjoy it. Again, I really appreciate you joining me, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye-bye.